Hello, welcome to Triple Threads. I am your host, Iman Abraham, and today we have another special episode with one of our own amazing Panthers here, Alexis Bandon, the assistant softball coach. How are you?
I'm good, coming over here, getting to talk to you. It's going to be great.
I know, I'm so excited to have you on here. You have such a tremendous experience within softball, and I can't wait to hear your story about being a collegiate player, turning into a coach, and that whole transition. I'm excited. So, where did your softball journey start?
So, my softball journey started definitely in Chandler, Arizona, with fast pitch and then
Mhm.
growing up into going into high school. Started off with in like 6th grade, so
Mhm.
pushing around 8, 10, that
Yeah.
kind of age range. And then now I'm coaching it at 28.
Right. Many years in softball.
Yes, yes.
And what made you want to choose softball?
Honestly, I don't know. My family always tells me the story of when
Mhm.
I was a baby that I just all of a sudden just started picking up balls and just throwing them. They're like, "Oh wow, she has a cannon." I have no recollection, no video of it, so it's
I'm
all
sh-
word of mouth.
I'm sure you're
So
just probably throwing some balls at somebody.
right, exactly. So they think that it was always something that I was basically born into.
Mhm.
No one in my dad didn't play, my mom didn't play. So it literally was something that I kind of just picked up on my own
Mhm.
and just ran with it.
Yeah.
They tried to get my brother into it. He thought it was Buzz Lightyear playing in the grass. So so it didn't take with any of my other siblings. So
That's funny. It sounds like softball chose you
yes.
more than anything.
Yes.
And that's funny. And because you didn't just play softball, you also played basketball, right?
Yes, I played basketball and honestly that was like my first sport that I played.
Mhm.
And you know it was fun, it was great, but I wasn't that great at it. But it was something I like just kept with, and
Mhm.
that was actually the sport that I did travel and club with first
Mhm.
before transitioning over to club and travel softball.
Right.
So it came to a point, even in 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade, I still played basketball. And then after that, I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I was like, I'm good. I was like, I don't really want to play this anymore.
No, that's understandable. You chose softball, and
Yes.
I'm sure you're happy you did.
Yes. I think everyone has something that they're led to or that they're meant to do.
Mhm.
Never did I think I was meant to be a college softball coach
Yeah.
and, let my career be in the hands of 18 to 20, 21-year olds.
Mm.
But here I am. So, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yes, and I'm glad you're here as well. And being a player, how was that experience? I mean, you started young, and then getting into, you don't weren't playing that competitive, but just making
Hmm.
that transition into competitive softball. How was that?
It was different. When I first realized that I didn't want to just play rec ball
Hmm.
where it was for fun,
Yeah.
we had no idea, me and my family, we had no idea that there was such a thing as travel softball.
Hmm.
My mom had to research and find these teams, and I wanted to pitch.
Hmm.
So that meant getting a pitching coach, which we had no idea what that all entailed either.
Hmm.
And so I had gotten a pitching coach, and then my mom had found travel ball teams to try out for. I didn't make a single one. So, and then I finally found one that was kind of developing, was kind of new to the club travel scene, and they brought me on, and from just perseverance and outworking my teammates, I found
Hmm.
myself into starting positions on the mound at a very young age.
Hmm.
And from there, my pitching coach just instilled confidence in me, as well as discipline and perseverance, and to be able to get things done,
Hmm.
that led me into the softball player that I became.
Yeah, and like not having no experience or no one really to
Hmm.
help guide you into the softball world, how did you feel growing up and like being able to make it into college, like make it as a collegiate softball
So
player?
I actually did have a really cool experience
Mhm.
with my pitching coaches.
Mhm.
I technically only had one,
Mhm.
but at the time, his wife was also the Arizona State pitching coach.
Oh wow.
So he told me that, if this is something that you want to play into, grow into, and this is when I was 11 or 12,
Mhm.
he was like, come to the Arizona State games, come watch, come observe,
Mhm.
become a student of the game. And so that's what I did. I think we went to about just every single home game in those years.
Wow.
And it was eye opening. It was something that I really fell in love with. And I also knew the moment that I wanted to play college softball was honestly watching Tennessee University play
Oh yeah.
on the television, fell in love with that school, really wanted to go to that school. But, as you get older, you kind of just realize kind of where you're led and where you're meant to be.
Hmm.
And that led me in a different direction than I thought. And honestly, it worked out better than I could have ever imagined.
Yes. No, I think it's important to be able to, like you said, be a student of the game, to be able to
Hmm.
understand and see yourself in that position one day, to be able to see what it takes to be at that collegiate level. And with your process, your recruiting process, how was that like going? Did you go on many visits to see other facilities?
I actually did not.
Okay.
So, when I got into junior college
Hmm.
first, um, I had an experience where I wanted to go to the University of Colorado Springs.
Okay.
And they were kind of looking at me before I got into junior college.
Hmm.
However, due to my grades, which is why I instill, get you're a student of the game.
Yeah.
You got to do the academic side
Hmm.
before you even get into college. You got to start freshman year, 7th, 8th grade. I was like, you got to have it down because that coach straight up told me, I can't recruit you. He
Yeah.
said, what you have in academics is something that I can't be a liability for.
Hmm.
So I had to learn the hard way
Yeah.
and go to a junior college first.
Yeah.
And at that point, I didn't know junior colleges existed where you could play. So
Hmm.
again, something that I wasn't knowledgeable on.
Hmm.
And so I went to South Mountain Community College in
Hmm.
Arizona,
Yes.
did my 2 years there. And even after that, going into my 4 year,
Hmm.
I visited only one school, and that was Kansas Wesleyan University.
Hmm.
It's an NAIA school.
Yeah.
And when I went there, I was like, okay, like, if this is my only shot, then like I'm going to go for it.
Hmm.
But probably month, 2 months into summer, right when we're getting to the nitty gritty end, University of Charleston in West Virginia reached out to me.
Yeah.
And I just, with the competitiveness and the perseverance in me, and like just really wanted to do what I could and live out the dreams that I wanted to,
Hmm.
I couldn't say no to playing NCAA Division II softball. So
Yeah.
that's what led me there.
Which is awesome, being able to really work hard. You didn't have a whole lot of knowledge going
Mm-mm.
into what it took to be a collegiate player, and you worked hard at South Mountain Community College and being able to continue your journey and to make it to Division II school. I'm sure you probably felt relief and amazed.
Yes, yes. Because now I look back and I'm like, wow, if I knew what I knew then, I'm
Hmm.
like, it could have been a different ballpark.
Yeah.
And but again, being at the
Hmm.
University of Charleston, I got to play at the Women's College World Series for Division
Yes.
Two, and that was just awesome. There's nothing quite like that moment in representing your team, your program, and
Yeah.
your school,
Yeah.
and showing and playing against the best in Division II softball.
Yeah. And how was that amazing experience? I'm sure it was, like you said,
Hmm.
exciting and all that great stuff, but being in the moment, being there, being on the field, what was going through your mind?
It was crazy. I remember in one of the games, I had to go warm up and get ready to go in
Hmm.
to be relief. And I remember, and it's dark out. Like it's
Yeah.
dark. We're actually playing in Denver, Colorado,
Oh wow.
and it's raining. It's just the lights are bright.
Hmm.
Nothing that we ever played in. Nothing we've ever experienced as a team.
Yeah.
And I get to the bullpen. I throw maybe 5 pitches. Next thing
Hmm.
I know, my coach is waving his hand to come over, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, like cool. 5 fastballs, great. All right,
You're
let's go.
going in.
Right, you're going in. Okay." And getting on that mound, those lights were just so bright.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, though, you knew that okay, I'm in for relief. I have a
Hmm.
job I have to do. I got to get us out of this situation.
Hmm.
And being able to do that and trust yourself and trust your teammates in that moment to keep your season alive, to
Yeah.
keep yourself going further, is a feeling of pressure,
Hmm.
but also a feeling I loved.
Yeah.
I loved being a relief pitcher. I loved being able to get our teams out of situations and get us back into the dugout. And
Yeah.
that's what I did. So
Yeah.
so it was incredibly fun. And honestly, being so close to home,
Mm-hmm.
which is, Arizona to Colorado isn't far,
Yeah.
my mom was able to come
Oh,
and
that's
watch me
awesome.
play.
Yeah.
So that was super nice because you can't do that when you're in West Virginia. It's
That
very
is
far
true.
traveling.
Other side.
Exactly.
No, that's cool though. Like having your support there, having your family,
Hmm.
and I'm sure having a support system has helped you along this journey as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They think I'm crazy, For one, they're like, "When girl, like what?" I'm like, but no, they understand. They know what I can do. They know the
Mhm.
lives I'm impacting, and we talk every day about what I can do or what I've been doing,
Mhm.
and just where I see myself as I get older and further into this career.
Yeah.
And they're behind it. I actually, I've always told
Mhm.
my head coach Bland, I'm like, I knew the moment I was going to stay out of school for a long time is when I bought my family stuff from the student store to
Yeah.
represent us, and that's what I've
Oh,
done.
yeah.
So I'm here for the long haul because they're going to represent us. So
Yes.
very huge in supporting. They
Mhm.
check in all the time. They're always asking how the games go. They
Yeah.
talked about do a rundown, full analysis of the games with me, especially my dad. So
No, my dad's the same way.
right.
He wants the full breakdown.
Yes, full breakdowns like how'd your pitchers do, what where are they going, how's their who hit did anyone hit anything hard off of them, this and that.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to be able to have that support and talk to them. Even my grandparents,
Mhm.
fully understanding the game and able talking about it with me is something you don't always get. So,
Yeah.
but they were also there when I was growing up, either catching my lessons or at every softball tournament
Mhm.
watching as well.
Yeah.
So we're full rounded.
That's amazing. And speaking of your playing days and having great ups, being able
Hmm.
to go to the World Series and making it to a Division II program, what kept you going? Because I'm sure there was days that you didn't feel as well, or maybe there was just maybe this wasn't for you. What
Right.
what went through your mind during those rough times?
Honestly, a lot of going through those rough times is just the ability to compete, to be able
Hmm.
to do something that not a lot of kids have the opportunity to do
Hmm.
or get gypped out on, due to career ending injuries or due to academics. Just knowing how lucky and how fortunate I was to be doing what I was doing for how long as I've been doing it and not feel the burning out
Yeah.
part of it is what kept me going. And having just honestly the teammates,
Yeah.
you know, every team I've been on, I've had great teammates. I've had great people around me, surrounding me.
Hmm.
And we just all had that same love, that same support, and that
Hmm.
same push and wanting to be competing.
Okay, that's awesome. Do you have any like favorite team memories from your playing days?
you know, I probably shouldn't talk about this one, but it's just too good. We were
Nice.
just me and my friends. We were hanging out just in
Hmm.
our dorm rooms, and when we split off in the evening, not even
Hmm.
too late, it wasn't even dark out.
Yeah.
One of our teammates was walking back to her dorm room, and she happened to get hit by a car. Nothing serious.
Okay.
She just got like a little knocked, and
Yeah.
she had her sling. Like she had to go get a sling on, take some
Uh-huh.
time to recover. She came back. She had stem going on right before games, and she'd just be like, "I'm ready." We'd be like, "You good?" Like we all know you got hit by a Tahoe, but so we
Oh.
always be like, "Are you good?" She just always had the stem on before we played, and honestly, like it was just always so funny
Mhm.
to just see her be like, "Yeah, I'm ready. Like I'm good to go. We got the stem. Let's do this thing." The other story is when we were
Mhm.
on our winning streak and we
Uh-huh.
were headed to the World Series.
Yeah.
We always had this one song that we would play. I think it was by Rihanna.
Uh-huh.
And our coaches would get off the bus. They'd be like, "All right, have your 2 minutes." And we would just be in the bus, just like making it like shake and everything. And that was like our pregame, get ready. All right, get off the bus. We're
Mhm.
locked in. We're ready to go. Like
Yeah.
defeat whoever we're about to face.
That's awesome. Like being able to just have that
Hmm.
team bonding, get that good energy going before it. I might have to steal that one.
Right?
I might have to use that
All
with my
yours.
teammates. No, that's funny. And I'm super excited that you're here now and you made that transition to coaching.
Hmm.
And we will soon very much get into that. When we come back from our commercial break, we will talk more with Alexis and her transition from being a collegiate player into a collegiate coach. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Triple Threats. And we are here. I am here with Alexis, our assistant coach here at Prairie View A&M University. And you were just telling us about your amazing collegiate experience and what made you want to transition into coaching.
So when I got done with collegiate softball, I truly thought that was it. I was like, I don't need to do this anymore. I've put my time in. It's time to let the next group of girls come in.
Yeah.
Went home, did a sales job for about a year, and I realized that didn't line up with my morals and values, and quit that, and didn't have anything going on. And I had an acquaintance actually reach out to me and said that, hey, do you want to coach travel softball? You get paid, it's this and that. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, we'll try it. And so from there, I was coaching 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds, and also giving private lessons. And a super fun group of kids. They were amazing. They actually is what kickstarted me back into this love and wanting to coach the game.
Yeah.
And being able to give all of my knowledge to them. I started talking to our program manager, and I was like, hey, I like this. I love this. I was like, but I think I need something that's more competitive. Like, what can I do? And I had also coached high school as well. I did coached freshman high school at Mesa High.
Oh, okay.
And and that was fun too. And it brought a lot of diversity into my life with, I had kids that a lot of them only spoke Spanish. And that's something that was a learning curve for me in knowing how to coach them, talk with them.
Yeah.
And because I'm someone who didn't really grow up with that kind of background of knowing Spanish.
Yeah.
So
the communication.
Exactly. So that was something that was very cool that I had to learn, and I enjoyed it. And, we may not have been successful, but those girls learned a lot, and they loved it to come back the next year.
That's awesome.
And so I was happy that I was able to do that. I was not there for that, but because at that point I decided that, talking to my program manager, she talked about being a grad assistant. So I had found a school in Rome, Georgia, applied, and they wanted to bring me on as their pitching coach. And from there I went, spent 2 years there. I actually was there during COVID. So we got shut down during COVID, and it's kind of like, kind of now what?
Unfortunate.
Right. A little unfortunate, but I knew from there, being at Shorter University, it was exactly what I needed. It was exactly what I wanted. I had got to learn a lot in the first 1.5 to 2 years that I was there. I still use their head coach very much as a mentor when I'm have some thoughts or processes of things that how I want to do things, or just something that I need some mentor advice about.
Yeah.
And the fact that I still have her in my back pocket and being able to talk to her just in life too, is awesome. And she really is what kickstarted me wanting to continue further, because I thought my first year at Shorter, I was like, man, I'm not built for this. I was like, I am not built for this.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, just stay with it. It'll be fine. You're doing good. You're doing this. Just stay with it. You got this. And she was right. I did have it. I
Yeah.
just needed more leadership. And she wasn't my, at the time when I first got there, she wasn't my head coach. She was the assistant.
Oh, okay.
And so my second year, she became the interim and then the head coach. And during that time frame is really I got that leadership, that guidance. And also through that, I got some recruiting opportunities to go out and recruit, ran into some other head coaches that were just down the road from us. And they helped me a lot as well with that guidance and leadership that I very much needed being so young. Because when I started, I was 22.
Yeah.
So I was still fairly young, still almost fresh out of college, and thought I knew everything.
We've all been there.
Right, thought I knew everything. Wasn't gonna admit it, but because I always wanted to learn and grow with the game, and getting to have these contacts and these connections with these other head coaches that have different backgrounds, really helped me strive into the coach that I am in today.
Yeah.
So that was really nice to have and still have them.
Yes. It's really good to have those relationships and being able to meet those people. And I think that's one of the amazing things about playing any sport is you meet so many amazing people.
You do.
Like you get to see, you meet mentors, other players, and just even the little kids, like the junior golfers, like seeing their drive and love for the game.
Right.
I think is so inspiring.
That burning passion.
Yes. And when they get upset, it's so funny because it's like, you are so upset and passionate about this game already.
Right, already? You're like, oh no. Oh boy.
No, but I think that's great. And like you had that experience being able to go and go from juniors to collegiate players. What do you think was the main difference?
The main difference was really recognizing that obviously I'm working with older girls, but sometimes the same analogies that I use for the little kid still transfer over into the older kids.
Okay.
And really having to adapt to, with little kids, you can teach them anything and everything.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you start having different ways of learning, whether it's auditory and visual. And between those two, you have to learn with each player which one are they more of. Are they more of a visual learner? Are they more an auditory learner? And really adjust to how they work best. Because I have my ways. And, but the way that I see it, if I'm a visual learner, someone who is an auditory kid isn't going to be able to pick it up as quick as a visual learner. So that's something that I had to recognize as a big difference is get to know my players, get to know how they learn, get to know what trauma they might have from past coaches.
Yeah.
And, because I've had kids in the past tell me like, a coach said this to me and like they would always say this, and that. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense on why if I say, buckle down, it triggers something in you to where you feel the pressure. You're not able to perform to your best potential while you're on the mound because you hear that and it takes you back to that bad instance of what you used to have in the past.
It could cause a mental block.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've really had to like learn. And I didn't know that my first year. And at that second year is when I started to learn that's what I needed to do. And that's where I need to learn and grow with the game is know my players, learn how they learn. Because one way that kid can do it that way, but this kid might not be able to do it that way.
Yeah.
So that would be the biggest thing that I kind of had to adjust and recognize.
Yeah. And I think that's so important because being an athlete myself, I think that's one of the most important things to be able to make a good coach and have a good coach and player relationship is being able to understand, having that communication, being able to trust your coach and trust your player, being like, okay, if I can share this with them, I know they'll understand me a little bit more and we can grow. I can grow as a player and our connection can grow as well. And I think that's very important.
Yeah. And I mean, it took me a while to get there, because even today before our season started, before we started conference, we were a little up and down. And I just feel like my pitchers needed something to kind of, not that they weren't confident, but build and build and build and build.
Yeah.
And I've been telling them about this book that I had called The Mental Game of Pitching. Oh, okay. And it's geared towards baseball, but it's you can turn it into softball. Yeah. It's still the same concept. It's just overhand to underhand.
Right.
And so I started sending them 3 words and I was like, whichever comes to your mind frame, whatever one sticks out, send it back to me. And so then that chapter, I would go and scan and make copies of it and give it to them. And I was like, like read it, highlight whatever you need, whatever sticks
Mhm.
out to you, so forth and so forth.
Mhm.
It's yours. You keep it. You need it when you need it. And I did the same thing with creating a goal sheet too, for
Yeah.
short term and long term. And I think it helped for when we got into conference play.
Yeah.
Something flipped, and it wasn't just one kid. It was something that flipped in all of them. And now we're just going and we're riding and we're taking our opponents out one by one. So
Yes, you guys are for sure, and especially you not being at Prairie View, you guys
mhm,
have been very successful so far. You guys are on a winning streak.
mhm.
You guys already went TSU, Alcorn,
Grambling,
Grambling,
Southern,
Southern, and now you guys are going to head into
Pine
Pine Bluff
Bluff.
this weekend, right?
Yes.
That's exciting. So going into that, what do you think makes such a successful team?
I honestly, it's that we're all on the same page.
Hmm.
Not just the players, but players and coaching staff.
Yeah.
We do things together. We talk about scouting reports when we do it
Hmm.
together. I take my pitchers and catchers and we talk about who we're going to face and how we're going to face them and what each of their players like,
Hmm.
so that we already have that knowledge going into it.
Yeah.
We also make sure that our girls are just all functioning on the same wavelength. Make
Yeah.
sure that they're prepared, make sure that they're organized.
Hmm.
And sometimes I'm forgetful. I mean, one of my pitchers texted me today and she was like, "Can you also make sure to send out a packing list?" I was like, "Yes, absolutely." I was like, "Yeah." So it's just
Uh-huh.
making sure that everyone has everything,
Hmm.
making sure that that they're eating, they're
Hmm.
hydrating themselves, making sure that their classes are taken care of, that they're staying on
Hmm.
top of their studies,
Yeah.
and just making sure that they're having that quality of life for a student athlete to be successful.
Yeah.
Today, we implemented this new thing this year of
Hmm.
having a mental day.
Oh, that's
So we're
nice.
using that today, let
Hmm.
our athletes recharge, get themselves ready to go to Fine Bluff and to really be at their full potential.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So do you guys have a mental day like every week, every
so
month,
we do
or
one about every month.
okay?
So, just so that they can get on top of everything that they need to.
Hmm.
It may just be one day, but that one day truly can be a game changer, whether
Yeah.
it's getting their studies done or just getting themselves organized in their dorm or
Hmm.
at their house, whatever it may be. It's just a day for them to check in with themselves
Hmm.
and be able to get what they need to get done and rest up.
Yeah.
Because student athletes are going, going, going. This past week, we played,
Hmm.
they had weights, and
Hmm.
then we had practice. So it's
Yeah.
just an ongoing theme.
That's awesome though. Like, because it's important that athletes are able to take care of themselves and being
Mm-hmm.
able to have a clear mind to be able to focus. Having a thousand things on your mind and then trying to go out and perform can be tough sometimes and
Exactly.
challenging.
It's really that mental side.
Yes.
And I'm glad that we're all
Hmm.
starting to highlight it a bit more.
Yeah.
That's something that's very big in my coaching philosophy, is
Hmm.
making sure, especially my
Yeah.
pitchers and catchers, that they're mentally strong and mentally stable to compete at their fullest.
Yeah.
I can read these kids like a book now. They
Hmm.
come in, I'm like, "Oh, what kind of day?" And they're
Yeah.
like, "AirPod day." I'm like, "Okay."
Okay.
I'm like, "That sounds good." I'm like, "We can roll with that."
Yeah, and I think that's important to have coaches nowadays really paying attention
Hmm.
to players because in the past, in my past experiences, I've had some really good coaches that have cared, and there's also been times where it's been challenging, where it
Hmm.
just feels like I'm just a number, or just like
Yeah.
it's just a person that's going out there expected to perform no matter anything or what I have going on.
Right.
It feels good to have someone that cares and looks at me as a human being.
Right.
And I think that having coaches and you guys having mental health days and being able to really get to know your player, I think is very important. I think that's
It
also one of the
is.
reasons why you guys have been so successful, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we have both Bland and
Hmm.
Rollo, who are
Yeah.
both dads. So
Yeah.
to females. And so they know,
Hmm.
they have daughters. They know
Yeah.
what it's like. And, something that I have always push and push and push is to
Hmm.
make sure that these girls, no matter where I'm coaching at, they
Hmm.
don't feel just like a number, that they know that I'm always going to be in their corner. They're going to get some critiques here and there,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be push them to be their better selves, to be their best selves.
Hmm.
Because if you don't have anyone, at least you'll have your coach. You'll
Yeah.
have your coaches behind you, your coaches in your corner, making sure you're okay, making sure you're good to go, making sure that you can do everything that you want,
Yeah.
playing, being a student, being a human at
Yes.
the very best.
Yes, I like that. I really do. And do you have any advice for any future softball players out there?
Honestly, the best advice that I could give is to just work, put in your time, go out, go with your coaches, trust them and listen to them, and really go with your gut. If you want to go play somewhere, go to the camps, go talk to them. I know we can be shy sometimes, but go talk to that coach, because the moment you talk to them, the moment that they know your name, they know where to find you, they can watch you on a field, and you can get them to start looking at you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being on here. It
Of
was a
course, thank you.
pleasure. And guys, please make sure to tune in and keep supporting our Prairie View A&M women's softball team. Please stay updated. They do have a game this weekend,
Yes.
so please keep up with them. And thank you so much for being on here. And if you want to shout out anybody or to leave your social medias anywhere, I'm gonna give you the floor to do so.
Oh,
Or you
put me on
can.
the spot. Always definitely follow our PVAMU
There we
softball
go.
page on Instagram
Mhm.
and Twitter.
Yes.
Definitely watch us. Definitely see what we're about, because we're rolling, we're riding, and we're ready to take down Pine Bluff. So,
Yes. So please stay tuned for that. Thank
yes,
you so much for being
thank
on Triple
you.
Threat. I am Iman Abraham. Thank you guys for tuning in again. And please tune in next week for more. Thank you so much for watching.